Who wrote the New Testament? No, it's not the disciples of Jesus. What makes me so sure about that, you may ask? Well, let me show you. The Gospels of Mark and Matthew were written in Greek, not just any simple Greek, but Koine Greek. Mark and Matthew were illiterate, and they spoke Aramaic. How could two illiterate men who spoke Aramaic write a book in Greek? Come on. The second proof that shows the gospel was not written by the disciples is in the Bible itself, in Matthew 9, verse 9. As Jesus went on from there, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the tax collector's booth. "Follow me," he told him, and Matthew got up and followed him. Do you see how the text goes? Do you notice here that the story is not being told by Matthew? That's a whole different person writing about what he heard. Otherwise, the text would go like, "As Jesus went on from there, he saw me sitting at the tax collector's booth. Follow him," he told me, and I got up and follow him. I hope your eyes are open now. Those books are like Bitcoin. No one knows who is behind them. Scholars reported that the Gospel of Mark was written around the years 30 and 40 after the death of Jesus. And the Gospel of Matthew was written around the years 60 and 70, almost a century after. Now, think about that. If the Gospel of Mark was written before Matthew, why they placed a book of Matthew before the book of Mark in the Bible? Well, let me tell you. The Gospel of Mark never talked about the virgin birth of Jesus. No virgin birth for him, but later on. About 30 years after, the author of Matthew added a little spice in the story. He literally took the Gospel of Mark, written many years before, and added his touch in it. So when the Council of Rome was assembling the Bible, Matthew made it to the first place. Funny, huh? Now let's talk about Paul. This dude was not a disciple. He didn't know Jesus. He wrote a bunch of letters to the Corinthians, Ephesians, Philippians, and Thessalonians, which have nothing to do with me of the rest of the world, unless you are a Philippian or an Ephesian.